Yo, what up, y'all? It's your boy, Sheek Louch, LOXD Block, Silverback. Hey, yo, right now I need to shout out the ISUPK classes.
I want to give a huge, big, humongous shout out to all the UPK schools.
Shout out to Black Watch, hosted by General Johanna. Word, I need y'all to check out Cross the Line Radio as well, man. They've been open all week from 7 to 9. They ain't shut down because of the corona, the COVID and all that. They rockin' strong, you know what I mean?
Think we got a problem, but really it ain't though. It's one of me and these bitches, I count about 3, 4. Think we got a problem, but homie just all talk. He ain't gon' pop a balloon with a pitchfork. Nah, think we got a problem in the club with this dog. Rude boys, dogs, ladies, everybody.
I'ma keep it 55th straight.
Shout out ISUPK.
Let's go ahead. His watchmen are blind. His watchmen are what? Blind. His watchmen are what? Blind.
That's what need to be. That's what need to be happening. There need to be more black women loving their husbands.
Religion, if you serve any religion, you're serving another God. The word religlia is the Latin word that means to separate or divide. That's the root word of the word religion. Now, if you serve any religion that's not in the Bible, you're serving another God. There's no religion in the Bible.
That nonsense. And that's why he raising up his priests and prophets here in the ISUPK.
Shout out ISUPK. Classes all week, 7, 5, 9 p.m. The brothers dropping that knowledge. Get in class. No excuses. Don't see no motherfucking customer.
Hey, what's good, Zariah, man? What's up? Get your ass up. Oh, man, you always be tripping. What's going on, man?
What's good, Red?
Hey, man, they was clowning you at work today, man.
So?
I mean, we watched the video a couple times, but we really couldn't tell if it was you.
Yo, how's your eye?
Oh, it's cool. God damn!
What's up, Rock? What's up, Rock? Yo, let me get one of them flyers, man.
Man, I ain't giving you shit. You better get the hell out of here before Cat Pop come out here.
Man, come on, man. Why you gotta be like that, man? I'm trying to come to class, man. Why you acting crazy?
Man, you need to go do that.
Man, I ain't giving him shit.
Man, what? Man, you ain't gonna give me shit. We need brothers to come to class.
Damn, man. Ite me yato me tararo tato.
Man, you fucking racist, man. Give me this goddamn flyer, man. You acting crazy, home.
Man, fuck you.
Oh, shit. T-Bow, nigga.
What?
Who? T-Bow.
Oh, damn, I ain't been to class in a minute. Shit. Oh, shit.
What's up, y'all? What's up, Red? Thanks for the bike. What you got on my ties, homie?
Man, I ain't got nothing. I thought you already collected the tires.
I did, but I want Red's 10%.
Stall him out.
What's up, Red? What you got on my ties, homie?
I ain't got nothing, man.
Oh, yeah. You got something.
I ain't got. Hey, man, that's messed up, man.
Shut your ass up or I knock your ass out.
Yo, Tebow, man, that's messed up, man. Give him his money back.
What money?
You right, man. The money.
Hey, man, why ain't y'all help me?
Yeah, man, I paid my tithes.
Man, that's fucked up. If it was y'all, I would have helped y'all. What about the time he took the tires from me in Zarad's backyard? Oh, that was different.
Man, let's jump him.
Man, sit your ass down, man.
Man, I got mind control over Tebow. When he here, I pay my tithes. But when he leave, I pay my tithes.
Man, damn, man. I should have just paid my tithes, man.
Man, that nigga gonna cry in the car.
He should have paid his tithes.
Shit, real shit.
This shit is endless. What I speak is the truth. I don't care if it's offensive. 12 rounds hit hard, and this shit gon' go the distance. Way to exit cool, but wait till you see the interest. Know that we them niggas when we walk inside the entrance. Put me as the GOAT, you should be honored to get a mention. All my clips is standard, but I still get extensions. Switch on the big 30, sound like when it's spitting. Album so hot, I had to give them an extension. One West till they bury me. Yeah, that's the commitment. Don't trust the soul, niggas purring or they hit this shit. What I speak is the
What's up,
truth.
y'all?
I don't care if it's offensive.
What's up, Red?
Life that I chose, no turning
Thanks for the
back,
bike.
no endless. They don't
You got on my ties, homie.
God damn, man.
What I speak is the truth. I don't care if it's offensive.
God
Life
damn.
that I chose, no turning back, no endless. They don't understand when we tell them no forgiveness.
Tebow, nigga. Tebow.
Reincarnation, so you know this endless. I'm solidified and stamped. That's why I walk with a signet.
I wanna do-
Salaya, what was good? Be like, man, that's fucked up. If it was y'all, I would've helped y'all.
All right, word. Man, that's fucked up. If it was y'all, I would've helped y'all.
Blameless, and if you ain't the same, I'm against it. Was born with the shit, the other half, I'm just gifted. 20 on me, wish a nigga would so I could spend it. Start from the branch, then I ain't at the soil. You got a peer on me, that'll leave your family tree spoil. You can't catch you, then.
All right, Shalom to Christ. This is the ISUPK out of Smyrna, Delaware. We started out on 1 West Home, New York, under Commander General Yana, and we teach that the Blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians are the true chosen of the Bible. And I know this past week, a lot of y'all Christians went and celebrated Thanksgiving, which is an absolutely evil holiday. You know what I mean? Especially if you're a Native American, if you're a Black or Hispanic, because truthfully, that's our brethren out there. You know what I mean? That died that day, and during the Trail of Tears. You know what I mean? So the first verse I'm gonna get into is actually we're gonna go to Deuteronomy 27 and verse 1. Deuteronomy 27 and verse 1.
Deuteronomy 27 verse 1 gives you a moment.
And so every Wednesday in Delaware, we teach the law. And we talk about how it's important for the Blacks, Hispanic, and Native Indians to keep that law. You know what I mean? Because everybody talks about how the law is done away with. And I mean, we don't got to do certain things like eating shrimp, eating pork, and eating lobster. You know what I mean? But the law is what got us into the situation in the first place. The law is why we get blessed and why we get cursed. You know, you can read it when you got it.
The book of Deuteronomy, chapter 27, verse 1.
Right.
Now Moses and the elders of Israel commanded the people, saying, keep the whole commandment that I command you today.
It says keep the whole command that he commanded this day. That's all of it?
Concert.
All right, go to verse 28 and verse 1 for me. Water.
The book of Deuteronomy, chapter 28, verse 1. And if you faithfully obey the voice of the Lord your God, being careful to do all his commandments.
So like, are you reading the King James version?
Oh, Slack, it switched over to a whole different Slack. Let me go back and read the other one. That might have been in the wrong one as well. The book of Deuteronomy, chapter 27, verse 1. And Moses with the elders of Israel commanded the people, saying, keep all the commandments which I command you this day.
Keep all the commandments. Go ahead.
All right, the book of Deuteronomy, chapter 28, verse 1. And it shall come to pass, if thou shalt hearken diligently unto the voice of the Lord thy God, to observe and to do all his commandments, which I command thee this day, that the Lord thy God will set thee on high above all nations of the earth.
Exactly. And this is why I love starting my class off with these verses, because the Bible says that if we do these commandments, that he'll set us high above all these other nations on the earth. You know what I mean? Because a lot of Christians, they talk about equality and stuff like that. But the Bible is clear. There's a hierarchy inside the Bible among nations. You know what I mean? And it says that the Israelites will always be on top. You know what I mean? And it also dispels the fact that when Christians say, who can keep the whole law, when God just said he commanded us to keep the whole law. Can you give me Luke 1:6? And whenever they say that to me, I'll always refer back to Luke 1:6.
The book of Luke.
Oh, sorry. 1 second. Let me get up into my computer. All right, you ready?
The book of Luke, chapter 1, verse 6.
So I can start verse 5 for me?
Verse 5.
Right.
There was in the days of Herod, the king of Judea.
Right now, and also the book of Luke is in the New Testament. You know what I mean? So this is where Christians like to say that the law is done away with. We not do it no more. Keep going.
A certain priest named Zacharias,
right,
of the course of Arabia, of Salakia. I'm just start over. There was in the days of Herod, the king of Judea, a certain priest named Zacharias,
right,
of the course of Abiah, and his wife was of the daughters of Aaron.
Yep.
And her name was Elizabeth.
Go ahead, verse 6.
Verse 6. And they were both righteous before God, walking in all the commandments.
How many?
All the commandments.
Okay.
And ordinances of the Lord blameless.
See, right there, Christians, it says that he walked in all, both of them together, they walked in all the laws blameless before the Lord. Go ahead.
Salaki, if I could, I've read this verse quite a few times to try to show that people can be perfect, and it just hit me how they reference, that she's of the daughters of Aaron and what that brings out, because Aaron was a Levite,
right?
And that means they were keeping the law. So she was raised even, those traditions as a woman, after her father. Like,
exactly.
She was raised in the law. She kept the law. It was perfect.
Excellent point. Appreciate it. And I mean, what he's bringing out was heavy because the sons of Aaron was in charge of the law. You know what I mean? The sons of the Levites, they was in charge of doing that. You know what I mean? And focus on the law. And it says that they both did it. So that just goes to show you that both genders can do the law. You know what I mean? Whatever laws particulate to the men, Zacharias did. And the law that was particular to women, Elizabeth did. And the ones that they could do together, they both did. You know what I mean? And it said they were blameless before the Lord. And that's how God wants us to be. Can you give me, I think it's Matthew 5:30, where it says that be perfect as the Lord in heaven is perfect. Be perfect as the Lord in heaven is perfect. I believe that's 5:30.
So like it might be a different one. Give me 1 second. I'll look up for it.
Well, yeah, so that's just showing you the value of that question.
Oh, is that Matthew?
It's Matthew 5:48.
48.
The water, sis. The water, brother. Let's go to that real quick. I know it was somewhere in there. You can read it when you got it.
The book of Matthew, chapter 5, verse 48. Be ye there perfect.
Right.
Salakia, therefore perfect, even as your Father which is in heaven is perfect.
Right. So Christ is comparing us to the Father in heaven. He says to be perfect like the Father that's in heaven. And we know God don't ever make no mistakes ever. And that's who he wants us to be perfect as. And this is what the Native Americans, the tribe of Gad, failed to do. You know what I mean? The tribe of Reuben, they failed to do. They was not walking in the Lord's commandments and being blameless. You know what I mean? Real quick. Give me Deuteronomy chapter 28, and I think it's 48. That's what I want to go to.
28 and 48.
Come on. Let me get that real quick.
And if I could,
Yeah.
You said 28 and 48.
Yeah, come on.
Can I just give a precept real quick?
Absolutely.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Because what you're bringing out is definitely heavy. Every time you have a conversation with a Christian that says you can't follow the law,
right?
You know, these verses, you know, prove otherwise because they were people that follow the law
every time.
And there's a distinction. Like some people think perfect is like never tripping and falling, shooting every jump shot, making it in and not missing. When it pertains to the Bible, it's talking about following the laws, the statutes, and the commandments, as God stated. Well, it's actually, the precept is in Deuteronomy, chapter 1 and verse 36. Let me see if I need to go find. Okay, I'll go to verse 35. And Salakia, let's see something. I'm gonna just even out, I'm gonna turn it down for you. That way we don't end up offline like we did that one time. Yeah. That's good enough. All right, so this is the book of Deuteronomy, chapter 1, verse 35. It says, surely there shall not one of these men of this evil generation see that good land which I swear to give unto your fathers, save Caleb, the son of Jephunneh. He shall see it. So, and this is talking about the other evil people. They're not seeing it because they weren't doing what they were supposed to be doing. But it says, save, like except Caleb, he shall see it. And to him will I give the land that he hath trodden upon, and to his children, because he hath wholly followed the law, like wholly, like totality. Like he has completely followed the law. So somebody says you can't follow the law, Caleb did it.
Absolutely. And these are perfect examples of just different men and women who did the law completely. You know what I mean? So take that back to the Christian that's telling you that nobody can complete the whole law. Because that's one of the main lies that's taught to us in the Christian church, that nobody can do the law. You know what I mean? Right. Who can be perfect? Nobody's perfect. When Christ is telling us to be perfect like the God in heaven, you know what I mean? You can't get no more perfection than that. You know what I mean? Because we know that the God in heaven never makes a mistake. Ever. You know what I mean? And this is always what I bring back to the 12 tribes of Israel, you know what I mean? Especially when we're dealing with this holiday in the Native Americans, you know what I mean? Our First Nation men and women, brothers and sisters, you know what I mean? How it was their responsibility to keep the law in this land, but they did not. Now, can you give me Deuteronomy 28 and 48?
The book of Deuteronomy, chapter 28, verse 48. Therefore shalt thou serve thine enemies, which the Lord shall send against thee, in hunger, and in thirst, and in nakedness, and in want of all things. And he shall put a yoke of iron upon thy neck until he hath destroyed thee.
Right. So, for those of you who don't know, the Native Americans were the first people to go into slavery and during this transatlantic slave trade. I believe it was like 1415, 1419, where they seen the Taino Indians, you know what I mean? And they came around and they picked them up first. And history shows that they was killed so much. They killed so many of them that's when they went and got the Negroes from the west coast of Africa, after they killed all the Native Indians. You know what I mean? Listen, the oppressor is the devil, and we should never trust him anything. And the God just said that if we don't keep his laws, that he's going to send a nation. Matter of fact, can you read that for me again?
The book of Deuteronomy, chapter 28, verse 48.
Right.
Therefore shalt thou serve thine enemies, which the Lord shall send against thee,
right,
in hunger, and in thirst, and in nakedness, and in want of all things.
And that's what happened to the Native Indians. You know what I mean? The first people to go through it. They served them in thirst and hunger and want of all things because they were led destitute. You know what I mean? Keep going.
And he shall put a yoke of iron upon thy neck until he hath destroyed thee.
That's exactly what the oppressor did. Now, I mean, go to verse 49 for me.
Verse 49. The Lord shall bring a nation against thee from far, from the end of the earth, as swift as the eagle flieth, a nation whose tongue thou shalt not understand.
Right, and that's exactly what happened. You know what I mean? The Most High ain't never lied. When he said that if we don't do it, if we don't follow these laws, statutes, and commandments, he was going to send an evil nation against us. And that's exactly what the oppressor did. These people came all the way from Europe, you know what I mean, thinking they found new land that wasn't occupied, you know what I mean? And that's how they wrote it inside the history books, that this was new land and nobody was over here. But that's a lie. The Native Indians have been over here. You know what I mean? They've been doing stuff over here, growing crops and trading and stuff like that. But we broke the law. Our ancestors broke the law, and he sent this evil nation against us. Can you go down to verse 50?
Verse 50.
Right.
A nation of fierce countenance, which shall not regard the person of the old, nor show favor to the young.
Right. And now once we start getting into the Trail of Tears, you'll see how they didn't care about the old or the young. They made everybody walk that path, man. Everybody. And I believe it was like some tribes was always in it was like Alabama, Tennessee, North Carolina, and I believe it was Georgia. But they took all the Native Indians, which was the Cherokee, the Chickasaw, the Choctaw, the Creek. Did I say Cherokee already? What's that last one? Hold on. I did it. Yes, the Seminole Indians and the Seminole Indians. 5 of those tribes, they had a tribe 1,000 miles all the way to Oklahoma. So guess how many states they had to pass during that time? It was about 5. Let me see if I got it right here. It was about 5 or 6 different states that they had to walk barefoot. You know what I mean? They walked barefoot in the winter. No food, not a lot of food, no shelter. You know what I mean? They're walking barefoot on the frozen ground. A terrible time, you know what I mean? And the Most High says he'll send a fierce nation against us. Can you read that again, verse 50?
Sir.
Right.
A nation of fierce countenance, which shall not regard the person of the old, nor show favor to the young.
Mm-hmm.
So
go ahead.
This verse is heavy because when it says a nation whose tongue thou shalt not understand, that has to be incredibly terrifying. Somebody coming over and then putting you in slavery, and you don't even understand what they're saying. They're just saying some weird words that you can't make out, and then you're just getting whipped and beat, possibly raped. Like,
no, they was.
Yeah, like depending on who it was, this, that, and the fourth, how you acted, and you don't know what they're saying. All you know is the actions that they're taking against you, and how you should move based on what they're doing to you. That's hell we went through.
Exactly. And imagine, listen, and I think it was the Mayflower where this particular group came in on. You know what I mean? Because I know when I was in school, they made like the Mayflower was like this great boat that came over here with these pilgrims and shit. You know what I mean? And really, they walking out with the makeup and the wig on. You know what I mean? A bunch of devils. That thing is scary to look at. And the Native Indians, they made one vital error. You know what I mean? They trusted the oppressor.
Right.
You know what I mean? When the Bible says you should never trust thine enemy. Right. You know what I mean? Matter of fact, let's get that.
Sir, I'll whip that up for you in 2 seconds.
Let me go to while you get that,
And so I'm looking on like the History Channel.
Yeah.
And the notes, and it's just crazy that these settlers, their motive for making the natives walk, take their land was so they can have cotton fields.
Yes. And also, that's actually a heavier point, because in Andrew Jackson, he started the Indian Removal Act in the 1830s. You know what I mean? And it said that he was going to that there was going to negotiate with the tribes that I just spoke of. They was going to negotiate with them and get them to peacefully move, sell their land, and walk down there. Now the devil is a liar. You know what I mean? And so he made these promises of giving them food, transportation, you know what I mean, and all this other stuff for them. But in reality, they used warfare to bring them out. You know what I mean? And they fought against them, and they was forcibly removed from their lands. And the main reason we was doing it was, one, because they also seen the native Indians, how they cultivated the land. You know what I mean? How they was doing such a good job with it. So when they kept bringing more of them over here, they kept seeing, and they needed more space to come in. The invaders needed more space to occupy. So that's why it was also started. And also around 1830, it was the gold rush, where they was finding gold on all these spots, and the native Indians were still on that land. So they had to get them off that land, because the oppressor only sees money and violence. You know what I mean? And he was going to get his way no matter what. You know what I mean? So I appreciate that point. Hey, Carl, you got that verse for me?
Sir. This is one of the precepts for never trust your enemy, out of Ecclesiasticus 12:10 from the Apocrypha. Never trust thine enemy.
Right.
For like as iron rusted, so is his wickedness.
So is wickedness. You know what I mean? I wish I knew that when I was a kid. You know what I mean? Because I would never trust the oppressors that I trusted before.
Right.
When I was 15, man, I thought I had colonizer friends. I thought these colonizers were my friends at one point. But it turns out that they are the devil that the Bible speaks of. And I wish my family taught me that early. You know what I mean? I wouldn't make the same dumb mistakes I did now. You know what I mean? Trusting those devils, man. I'll never do that shit again. I'll never do that again, man. Even at my job, you know what I mean? They still be smiling, laughing at me. I'd be like, I do not trust you. Salakia.
And where were we before that? Salakia, we were in
Deuteronomy 28:48.
We left off at verse 50.
Verse 50, can you read that for me again?
The book of Deuteronomy, chapter 28 and verse 50.
Right.
A nation of fierce countenance, which shall not regard the person of the old, nor show favor to the young.
That's right, man. He's not going to show favor to either one of them.
Hmm.
Can you drop that? And let's go to verse 15. You got a question?
Yeah, and to have fierce countenance is definitely what was demonstrated when you have in order for natives to walk from Florida
Right.
all the way to the other side of the Mississippi.
Exactly. You know what I mean? And it's funny that you say that, because on their way down there, some tribes had to go by take a boat, right? I forget what kind of ferry it was called, but it was like $1 in our time. Well, back then $1 was a lot of money. I think it said it was like $1. It's like worth $20 back then. So even after oppressing them and forcing them out of that spot, they had to make them pay to even cross that river to get past what they was doing. You know what I mean? They are the devil the Bible speaks of. You got that verse for me?
Salakia, sir. What was the verse again?
Verse 15. Salakia, hold on. Don't go to verse 15.
Deuteronomy.
No, just read 48 for me again, because it displays their evilness right now.
The book of Deuteronomy, chapter 28 and verse 48.
Right.
Therefore shalt thou serve thine enemies,
exactly,
which the Lord shall send against thee, in hunger, and in thirst, and in nakedness, and in want of all things. and he shall put a yoke of iron around thy neck until we have been destroyed. That's like until he have destroyed you.
Go ahead.
If I could, like as I'm reading through the verses, I just think of like small points and everything going on as far as like the small hats,
right?
The community that is over there bombing the Palestinians and how they try to say they're the people of the book.
Mm-hmm.
But the more detail you find out in history, what happened to our people, and then you see what happened to theirs in history, who they were on what side of history, you can clearly see the distinction in what the scriptures are describing about the Israelites,
right,
and what happened to them, because there's no nation with a tongue that they didn't know that came up against them.
Exactly.
When they went through what they went through with the Germans, they spoke German.
Uh-huh.
You know, they were over in Germany.
That's a heavy point.
Right. They were running those sexual industries.
Mm-hmm.
They say corn, so they don't get flagged. But the P word, corn, like those small hats were running corn over there. They were, you know, doing all this illicit activity, throwing those, you know, taxes up, not taxes, when you let somebody borrow money and then you charge them interest. They were tanking their economic system.
That's like a loan.
They were doing all types of stuff, messing up the economic system, having everybody owe them money, and they've never been in a situation to where what's described in this Bible. They can't be the children of the book, and only a brainwashed person that reads these scriptures and actually believes in God wouldn't be able to see that. Only somebody that's completely just not a free thinker.
Exactly. See that. And Hitler wasn't having none of that. You know what I mean?
And
go ahead.
I think it's crazy too that like if you like when you look up, and I remember seeing something. It was like I think it was a documentary or something. But you had slaves also walking in the Trail of Tears with the natives. So it's like crazy how, you know, it just further shows that, you know, that curse is upon, you know, our people.
Absolutely. You're absolutely right. And the most wicked part is they allowed the Native Indians to buy slaves. You know what I mean? So the Judites was enslaved to the Native Americans. You know what I mean? Because again, they tried to separate our people. You know what I mean? Have us pin against one another. You know what I mean? And even now, the Native Americans, and I mean, first of all, the Native Americans, the Hispanics, and the Blacks, none of us think that we're the same person.
Right.
You know what I mean? And neither group really fights for each other. We're all separated. You know what I mean? You were gonna say something?
God, sir. You know, I've seen in different books, like you were saying, the Native Americans, you know, had slaves. You know, and then I've seen when they go into like a deeper examination of it, and they'll bring out the fact that the Native Americans did buy slaves.
Right.
But what they would do is they would buy that slave's freedom, raise that child up if he was a man, and make him like a chief of the tribe. But you did have some, you know, some possible, you know, Native American coons out there. But, you know, there were, you know, a lot of brothers, you know, because there's traitors in all of our tribes.
Absolutely. But
you did have a lot of brothers that would buy our freedom, you know, even though it wasn't completely redeeming us like the Lord has for us, but they would, you know, get us out of that situation and actually raise us as a chief in the tribe.
Exactly. And that just shows you the difference between how we view slavery and how the oppressor views slavery.
Right.
Like how they did slavery was straight brutal, you know what I mean? Nothing but raping and killing and torturing and medical experiments. How we did it, you know what I mean? You probably just worked the farm regular, you know what I mean? Like, okay, you worked, went home, you went to sleep, you wake up, you did it again. Right. But if you was under the oppressor, good night, man. You was smoked, you know what I mean?
That's a heavy point.
Yeah, you know what I mean? You was toast, you know what I mean? And to this day, sometimes when I'm doing my research, I always look at the torture tactics that they used on us. You know what I mean? Like I watched this one movie. This was back when I was younger, and I didn't understand why the slaves, they had the collar on their neck. And did you see the one where they had like it was like a collar, right? And huh?
Did it have bells on it?
Nah. It was a collar and it had like spikes on it, and it would move back and forth. And I didn't know what that was for, but that was for whenever they would start running, the spikes would just tap them in the head back and forth, right? So they couldn't really run nowhere real fast. They couldn't walk real fast when they were running. You know what I mean? I was like, damn. You know what I mean?
That is some cool.
Exactly. Listen, I love my slaves. Go ahead.
I do. I think it was last week when Officer Latazafar had read some interviews with slaves, and it's heavy what you're saying, because the way this one brother had a wife and she was somewhere else and he would go see her. The master found out, went and cut her head off.
Damn.
Cut his wife's head off.
Made him cut his wife.
Oh, I think she might have made him cut his wife. Well, no.
He made him cut his wife.
Okay, so you could be right. I did say this, but I have to go back and look. You could be right. I don't know if he made him. No. I don't think he went that far. He made him like bury. He made him bury her in a lake or something. Tie a chain to her feet, and then throw her in the lake.
You got his name?
Yeah. Look, I actually saved the. I have the slave's name, and I have I think the master's name as well.
Exactly. We need to pray that master, whoever that master is, he needs to be my slave in the future. I mean, that's what I'm trying to tell you, man. Like, and I say this a lot. I know I always repeat myself in some classes, but the slave name that I have, I want them to be my slaves in the future. You know what I mean? That's what I want. That's what I'm asking God for. Like, whoever owns the Browns, you know what I mean? Whoever Brown is, whichever plantation that my ancestors was on, I don't care how nice you were or how cool you were going to be my slave. That's facts. I ain't backing down with that one.
His name was Johnson Bell.
That was the master?
The master's name was Johnson Bell.
Yes. Go ahead.
And he cut off his wife's head with a long knife.
And you know what I mean? And that's just some of the atrocities that we go through, man.
And I think it's because they pitted us one against the other. Like, I think that is what's really like it's ingrained, because you had your house, slaves, you had your field slaves. There was a division there, or based on skin color, there was division. So it's like, they made it a point to divide and separate, and that's just been something that's throughout history was continually perpetuated, just kind of reorganized, but still enforced.
Absolutely. Excellent point. I mean, because the oppressor is the devil. Everything he does is that he's a homicidal maniac, and he needs to be domesticated. You know what I mean? He can't be set free walking out here. You know what I mean? He needs a chaperone, somebody to watch over him, because you see what he does when he is let loose.
Damn right.
There is nothing that he won't kill. There is nobody he won't rape. Rape?
Yeah, I just say that because we can't say the K word or the R word.
I thought that was just for like TikTok. That's what we're.
Well, you might get a flag on the account,
right? Well,
especially on like Facebook. It's a lot.
Yeah.
But no, what you're saying is heavy because what you're saying is literally the spirit of this animal. Like once they are let loose and they have that liberty to just do what they want, it's just like that ship came over with a whole bunch of like school shooters on it, like a whole bunch of Dylan Roofs, like
mass murderers.
Yeah, like that's what came on that ship, like a whole bunch of maniacs. But now they're just subtle in it. They get their for lack of a better term, their rocks off a different way. Now they do other weird stuff behind the scenes.
Like storm the Capitol.
Yeah, but if they can make it normal, you better watch out because they'll be hunting black people in Chicago if they can.
Absolutely. And this is why, matter of fact, give me Zephaniah 2:1.
Or in the upcoming election.
Yeah. Because there is nothing that they won't do to get what they want. Absolutely nothing. Zephaniah 2:1. You bring it up on my computer too.
I'll read it whenever you want to.
You can start reading.
The book of Zephaniah, chapter 2, verse 1.
Uh-huh.
Gather yourselves together. Yea, gather together. O nation not desired.
O nation not desired, man. It's up to us to gather together, man. Because just like Carl said,
you got a comment, sir.
Con.
I don't know if you see it.
I see him now. Why the chat having a second minute. Just so you know, my internet goes off. Give me the first verse for me again.
The book of Zephaniah, chapter 2, verse 1.
Uh-huh.
Gather yourselves together. Yea, gather together. O nation not desired.
It's up to us to gather together, man, because we are the nation not desired. You know what I mean? And we see it clearly in these attacks that happen against the 12 tribes continuously. Whether it's the Hispanic community, the Native American community, or the African American community, whether you're Haitian, whether you're Dominican, you know what I mean? Whether you're Colombian, down to Argentina, you know what I mean? To the West Indians, we're all under these curses and we all suffer the same fate, you know what I mean? And this is why it's up to us to gather together. O nation not to guide, O nation not desired. So we are truly the nation not desired. Slaka, you give me John 10:10. I believe that's where I want to go next. Let me check this real quick. John 10:10. That's what I want. You can read it when you're ready.
The book of John, chapter 10, verse 10.
Right.
The thief cometh not but for to steal and to kill.
Like, who's the thief?
The thief?
Yeah.
The oppressor.
Absolutely. 100%. Him, the conquistadors, the pilgrims, the Puritans, you know what I mean? Whatever name you want to give them,
right?
They are the thief. Let's keep going.
And to kill and to destroy. I am come that they might have life, and that they may have it more abundant.
Right. So we just read that the thief is here to kill, steal, and destroy. That is the only thing that the oppressor brings with him, is death and destruction. You know what I mean? Since he's been born on this, since he was made on this earth, that's what he was born to do, to kill, steal, and destroy. It's like it. Now, I'm gonna try to share my screen real quick. So y'all can see this. How this article on the Charlataires I want to bring out. If my internet will get to working. All right, 1 second, y'all. Hold on, you almost there. I'm gonna bring my Ether cable next time. Let me get there. 1 second, y'all. Almost there. All right. Charlataires. So this is something I have on my laptop, right? I went on history.com and I Googled the Charlataires. And I'm going to read bits and pieces of this article for those of you who may not understand exactly what happened. It says, at the beginning of the 1830s, nearly 125,000 Native Americans lived on millions of acres of land in Georgia, Tennessee, Alabama, North Carolina, and Florida. just like what Kanaya said, that son was in Florida. And that our ancestors had occupied and cultivated for generations. Let's skip down. Working on behalf of white settlers who wanted to grow cotton on the Indians' land, the federal government forced them to leave their homelands and walk hundreds of miles to a specifically designated Indian territory across the Mississippi River. This difficult and oftentimes deadly journey is known as the Trail of Tears. As we've been discussing throughout the whole class, you know what I mean? We've been talking about the Trail of Tears and exactly what happened to it. This article is going to give you a little bit more. It says, white Americans, particularly those who lived on the western frontier, often feared and resented the Native Americans. They encountered to them American Indians seemed to be an unfamiliar alien people who occupied land that white settlers wanted and they believed that they deserved. Now, I know y'all heard about the term manifest destiny, you know what I mean? And how the oppressor thought that it was his right by God to go and capture land all across the Americas. And this is the result of it. Because in his mindset, he is God and he can do whatever he wants. You know what I mean? So these colonizers seen the Native Americans doing good and they wanted part of that. I'm gonna jump down. Let's read this part here. It says, but the Native Americans land located in parts of Georgia, Alabama, North Carolina, Florida, and Tennessee was valuable, and it grew to be more coveted as white settlers flooded the region. Many of these colonizers yearned to make their fortunes by growing cotton and often resorted to violent means to take land from their indigenous neighbors. They stole livestock, burned and looted houses in towns, committed mass murder, and squatted on land that did not belong to them. That's everything that they did, you know what I mean? I'm gonna jump down. As President Andrew Jackson noted in 1832, if no one intended to enforce the Supreme Court's rulings, which he certainly did not, then the decision would fall on the southern states were determined to take ownership of Indian lands and would go to great lengths to secure this territory. Let's jump down. Now, Andrew Jackson was a president at this time. Andrew Jackson had long been an advocate of what he called Indian removal. As an Army general, he had spent years leading brutal campaigns against the Creeks in Georgia and Alabama, and the Seminoles in Florida campaigns that resulted in the transfer of hundreds of thousands of acres of land from Indian nations to white farmers. As president, he continued this crusade in 1830. He signed the Indian Removal Act, which gave the federal government the power to exchange native-held land in the Cotton Kingdom east of the Mississippi for land to the west. So, like I said before, they took the Native Indians from the south and they brought them all the way down to Oklahoma. This Indian territory was located in present-day Oklahoma. The law required the government to negotiate removal treaties fairly, voluntarily, and peacefully. You know what I mean? They go and try to say, well, they did it peacefully, but we all know that that's a lie. Right? It did not permit the president or anyone else to consider native nations into giving up their ancestral lands. However, President Jackson and his government frequently ignored the letter of the law and forced Native Americans to vacate lands they have lived on for generations. As we all know, they forced them to leave. You know what I mean? Now, this section is called the Trail of Tears. In the winter of 1831, under threat of invasion by the U.S. Army, the Choctaw became the first nation to be expelled from its land altogether. They made the journey to Indian Territory on foot, some bound in chains, and marched double file, when historian writes, and without any food supplies or other help from the government. Thousands of people died along the way. It was one Choctaw leader told an Alabama newspaper, a trail of tears and death. The Indian Removal Act process continued in 1836. The federal government drove the Creeks from their land for the last time. About 3,500 of the 1,500 Creeks who set out for Oklahoma did not survive the trip. And we know on, like, when they was traveling on this Trail of Tears, that it was that many of them died due to smallpox. You know what I mean? Because the colonizers had a lot of diseases with them. You know what I mean? They was walking, they was dying from the cold, they had proper food and shelter. So they died from all that. Let's jump down. By 1840, tens of thousands of Native Americans had been driven off their land in the southern eastern states and forced to move across the Mississippi to Indian Territory. The federal government promised that their new land would remain unmolested forever. But as the line of oppressors pushed forward, Indian country shrank and shrank. In 1907, Oklahoma became a state in Indian Territory was considered lost. I mean, and that's basically the end of it. I know my internet cut off, but y'all get the position that I mean. And this is why obeying the law is very important. So we don't repeat this same mistake that we made, you know what I mean? Because we don't want our Native American brother and sister to go through that again. And if you're a Native American brother or sister, you should not be following the ways of the oppressor. You know what I mean? It's like, can you give me Deuteronomy 28:1 again? You get a chance.
Deuteronomy?
Yeah.
28
and verse 1.
28 and verse 1. The book of Deuteronomy, chapter 28 and verse 1. And it shall come to pass, if thou shalt hearken diligently unto the voice of the Lord thy God,
right,
to observe and to do all his commandments, which I command thee this day, that the Lord thy God will set thee on high above all nations of the earth.
Mm-hmm. And that's exactly what the Bible says, you know what I mean? That we will be high above all nations of the earth. Give me Deuteronomy 7:6.
The book of Deuteronomy, chapter 7 and verse 6. For thou art an holy people unto the Lord thy God. The Lord thy God hath chosen thee to be a special people unto himself.
Right.
Above all people that are upon the face of the earth.
Above all people upon the face of the earth. So the Bible says that we are going to be in charge. We are above all people on the face of the earth. You know what I mean? So this nation that came against us is nothing but garbage. And we are at the pinnacle of that. You know what I mean? This is why the Most High called us, you know what I mean, to be priests and prophets in this end time. So we can teach the gospel and teach our people to come back to these laws, statutes, and commandments. So we can honor God, you know what I mean? And we can reverse the damage that has been done to our people. You know what I mean? So our people can stop being coons. You know what I mean? Stop being selfish. You know what I mean? Stop being race haters against ourselves. You know what I mean? Stop colorism. This is why the law is here. You know what I mean? With that, I think we'll just wrap it up. You know what I mean? With that, I'll call a priest and officer call.
All right, excellent class. This is the ISUPK security announcements. Rules for new brothers and sisters. When a new brother or sister comes into the school, they are to be saluted only. They are to shed themselves of the world. They are to learn and shed themselves of the world for at least 6 months. If there's particular interest in a brother or sister, the heads will arrange it. After 6 months, if the brother or sister also like it. Tithes, which is a commandment. In Hebrew, it is ma'ashara. That can be found in Numbers 18 and 21, Malachi 3, 8 through 10. It is 10% of every penny of increase that the Lord gives you. Free will offering or priest offering is not mandatory, but it definitely is welcome. Of course, you could donate a bottle, if you would like. Our up and coming Holy Convocation is the Feast of Dedication, which takes place on December 7th. That can be found in 1 Maccabees, chapter 4, 52 through 61. All right. With that being said, men of Israel, Amijim, which means to stand. Men of Israel, Amijim Shabbat. Amijim Barak. Amijim Barak. Yahweh Ba'ashem, Yahweh Shai Barak Thum. Men of Israel, Yajmatah. We're gonna turn to the sisters and give them a courtesy salute. Sisters, Amijim, which means to stand. Men of Israel, Amijim, Salakia, Amijim Shabbat, Amijim, Barak, Yahweh Shamar, Aladam, Bashini Yahushai, Yajmatah, class dismissed.